camera guy. Hey, I got a video idea. You want to help me tell the people about failure? You want to help me? All right, let's see if you catch it this time. Oh, you failed, camera guy. Hello, friends. It's Sparkles. For today's journey, I want to talk to you about failure. Because most of us, we don't want to fail. We want to do everything right from the beginning. But that's not how life works. So come with me today as we talk about failure, how it can be good, and what you can learn from it. See, failure is not a person. Maybe you have failed, but people are not failures. Failures are events that happen, events that you can learn from, events that can propel you forward. Because if you've never failed at anything, have you ever really tried? Have you ever really put your heart into something important to you? We look at other people, we see their success, and we compare ourselves to them. That's their journey, that's their success. You need to define what is success to you and find your own journey. We don't have parties when people fail at things. We don't post on social media, I failed at this today. No, we only talk about the highlights, the successes. Behind every success, there's multiple failures. You talk to anyone who's successful at anything, and if you ask, they have a lot of failures. You just don't see those. You only see the end result. Well, that result wouldn't be possible if they hadn't stumbled, if they hadn't learned. A lot of people that have a successful business, they've failed several times at other businesses. The only difference is getting back up after you fall down. Learning from your mistakes. That's how you really grow. We tend to look at failure as this great big thing. It's not really that big of a deal. It's a small part of your journey. It's the price we pay for success. If you start off at something and it doesn't go right, that's when you stop and you ponder and you think. If everything's going perfectly well in your life, on your journey, working on that goal, that dream, you don't really reflect. You don't think a lot. But when you get knocked on your butt during that journey, that's when you look at how can I do things different. Most people avoid failure. The way I look at failure is your first attempt in learning, right? We all started somewhere. No matter where you are on your journey in life, you had to learn things along the way. Most of us are potty trained, but the first time you used the potty, maybe it didn't go so well. Maybe you fell in. Someone had to teach you how to wipe your booty. Most of us know how to do that today. But when you're small, you don't fear failure. You try new things. As you get older, society, maybe your parents, maybe your friends, they help you put up a shield so that you don't try new things. Why don't you think about something you've been wanting to do? What's holding you back? What on your journey, what little voice is telling you you're not good enough or that you shouldn't even try? Failure's like a rubber band, right? You stretch it back, and when you let it go, it propels forward even further. You're kind of like that. When you're on a journey and you're learning new things, sometimes you feel like you're not making any headway, you're not making any ground. But just know that everything you're learning right now is only going to help you in the future. Imagine this, we all dream about winning the lottery. I dream about that too. But are you ready for that? Because when you're successful, it's because you learned all the things prior to that. Because if you can't handle $10,000 and it disappears because you have bad spending habits, $1 million is going to do the same thing. That's what journeys are like when you're learning and you're growing. You're not ready for success in whatever you're doing until you've learned all the lessons. And you can't skip steps in the journey of life, right? You couldn't run until you learned how to walk. You couldn't walk until you learned how to crawl. That's kind of like every journey that you take in your life. You have to have those steps. You have to have the learning. I'm going to go into story mode and talk about one of my biggest failures, because we can all learn from other people's failures as well as our own. So my husband and I had a business and things were going great. And then maybe some of you are around for the crash, 07, 08. Well, during that time, I lost my job. Hadn't planned on that one. And we had to make a decision. Were we going to keep the business? Were we going to close it? Well, we ended up foreclosing on our house. It sucked, but it was the only way that we could keep our business, which was more important to us at the time. Now, looking back, maybe I would have done things differently. But after we foreclosed on the house, there was still an outstanding second mortgage that we had used to get our business. Probably not the best decision we made. And they wanted their money. They started garnishing my wages for the second mortgage. The first mortgage was wiped out with our gap insurance. And so we had to file for bankruptcy. Otherwise, we would have been on the hook for all that money and they would have taken it out of our paycheck for a house that we gave back to the bank and we didn't even own anymore. And it sucked. We didn't want to file for bankruptcy. That's a huge failure, right? You couldn't pay your bills, you couldn't pay your creditors, and it ruined our credit for a very long time. And after you file for bankruptcy, it's really hard to get any kind of vehicle or rent an apartment. And we went through that journey and we learned from it. We went on to have other businesses after that. When we closed the one business and we had another business and another business. But all the lessons we learned from that painful period of time, we applied to the other businesses. And we did things differently. We did things smarter. We didn't spend as much money when we started a business. And that's what life's all about, is learning and growing. So if you do fail at something, learn those lessons and use them for the future. So let's say you are working on that goal, on that dream. You're running along and all of a sudden you get knocked over. The world knocks you over on your butt. Get back up. Because right now, the learning you're doing, that's going to help you in the future. We all have to take steps. We're not going to be great at everything right away. We're not going to have all the resources we want. You know what? When you don't have resources, you get more creative. You find different ways to do things. So in your mind, maybe you have failed at something. If you really look back at that, what you consider a failure, did you really fail? Or did you stop trying? Did you find a way that just didn't work for you? I'm a sparkly person. You can call it ADHD, ADD, whatever you want to call it. I know for myself, I have to set my goals differently than maybe someone who doesn't have sparkly disorder. Because if I define my success based on other people and how their brain functions, I'm going to get frustrated with myself every time. When I start a new task, I have to have little reminders and I have to do things a little differently for the way my brain is wired. That doesn't mean that I'm a failure at things. It just means that I need to do them a little bit differently. Maybe you're the same. The most important thing when you have failed is to get yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep working towards your goal, no matter what that is. You have it in you. You have the power to change your future. Sure, it may not be easy, but if it's important to you, you will find a way. We always find the money for what's important to us. We find the time for whatever's important to us. Start working on your next journey, on your next adventure, and your next success. So I challenge you, dear viewer out there, I challenge you to go for your dreams. Sure, you might fail, but you're going to learn so much along the way. Don't let fear, don't let the false evidence appearing real sneak in and prevent you from going for it. because you are meant for greatness. And there's something out there that you can do differently and amazingly, and you can be successful at it. Take that first step. Make it happen. Thanks for being part of my journey today. I'm sending you light and love and a bucket of sparkles, and we celebrate your future success.